everybody? Welcome to another episode of We Watched a Movie. This is Brandon.
Hey.
And I'm Finn. And we just got through watching Chappie. And we're going to talk about it with y'all today. So, Chappie.
Oh yeah, man. I love me some Chappie. For me, it's the Die Antwoord movie. Like, I know it's Chappie and it's its own beast, but it's the Die Antwoord movie.
Kind of
for
is.
me. I'm a big fan of Die Antwoord. I think that for those of you who don't know, Die Antwoord is a South African rap group consisting of Ninja, Yo-landi, and DJ High Tech. DJ High Tech isn't a specific person, though. It's like an idea that changes with every song and new music video. So, like, really, it's just Ninja and Yo-landi Vusser, right? And, like,
and some person filling in for DJ High
Tech, who always, like, does the music.
Right.
So, like, it's whatever the producer
Right.
was that day. It's in, like, has tons of different embodiments in every music video. Sometimes it's a pudgy guy wearing, like, a bunch of, paraphernalia kind of garb, or there'll be like some guy, some hip dude spinning the tracks, or it'll be a terrifying visage, like a terribly deformed face or something, rapping at you brutally. Like, it totally changes each time. But that's their style, is to be very, like, offset your expectation, right? And, like, that's what Die Antwoord does, is you kind of come into and you're like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
And that's why I think of Chappie as the Die Antwoord movie, because it's one of those things the whole time you're thinking, what am I watching? And it does that in a fun way. Like, it's very cheesy. It's very cornball. I think one of my favorite descriptions was that got thrown around was Short Circuit meets RoboCop, right? And that's totally hits like the proper flavor. And even in the time era, because this movie, although relatively modern, takes place in South Africa and it really focuses on, like, the gang warfare there, right? And the police's effort to push it out, which is like the plot line of RoboCop. So you're like, oh yeah, sure, they're doing the same thing that we were doing in the 90s, right? Like the war on drugs. So it feels very 90s, and Die Antwoord's music sounds very 90s, late 80s, 90s. That's when those ideas come from. So although it is very reminiscent of it, I think it's very true to it, but it's very modern. It is very, as they would say, Zeph, like, it's very next level. They're trying to integrate all these super heavy metaphors into this movie. I think it's like, God, they cover everything from, like, your relationship with your mother and your father to, like, God and why he made you mortal. And it's all centered around, like, a robot that gets its own intelligence and has to learn the world from horrible people.
Yeah, it's, as you said, it's very much Short Circuit meets RoboCop for, like, the first 2/3 of the movie. And then the last third of the movie is dealing with some concepts and some ideas that are very next level and very interesting. I mean, the transference of consciousness, what constitutes human consciousness, whether or not an AI is a, creature deserving of legal protection, of all of the basic human rights that we all get, those ideas and granted, things about robots have been handled before. We see that in Short Circuit, we see that in RoboCop. When does the being that has cognitive thought, when does it cease to become a machine or a subservient item and become something that we have to grant freedom to?
Right. And Chappie, one of the things I love about this movie, and I think is just really awesome about it, is it starts off gritty and it stays gritty. Chappie, his unit gets, like, trashed every time he goes out. He's like this scout, right? Which is the new type of police robot, and they have a bunch of them. There's like hundreds of them that South Africa is using to, like,
he starts
move
off
them
as
around.
A scrap piece,
right? But then, like,
place.
and then he gets, like, hit with that RPG by Hippo, the movie's evil gangster bad guy who's so indiscernible. He speaks English. They have to give him subtitles because you can't understand anything he's saying.
Nothing.
No, it's impossible. You'd miss the whole movie's point if it wasn't, because he's a very important character. He gives the push to Yo-landi, Vusser, and Ninja because he's going to kill him if they don't give him $20 million. And the only plan they can come up with is to jack a robot, right, to help them steal the money
and reprogram it so that it will be a thief.
So they figure they'll catch the scientist who's in control of the robots. The scientist who's in
but
control.
he is working on an AI program
Right.
that the company won't let him pursue because they're like, well, hey, these things already just do the job. They're police robots. They're out there in the field arresting people. We're fine with it. Don't go any further. Don't reach for any more
We don't
heights.
need.
And behind their back, he does it anyways and develops this AI intelligence program that he wants to put into one of the police robots to see if it'll work.
Since they won't let him, he has to pick up a discarded robot
Right, one that's gonna be put on the scrap pile.
Yeah, it was put on the scrap pile because
smashed down. And
it's like battery
inject.
is fused to its
Yeah.
chest plate, so
Yeah.
they can't replace it.
Yeah, that's another
so,
thing. Right.
Yeah,
So
this
it has a
movie
limited
has like a
lifespan.
time span. Like
Yeah.
Chappie comes to life, and like a big push of this movie is he realizes at some point that he's mortal.
Right.
Right? Like, unlike the other robots where they can switch out his their thing,
Yeah.
his god, the guy who made him and created his
Made him
consciousness,
mortal.
put him in a body that
Right.
was destined to die,
Which
and
is,
knew that
which
when
is
he
a nice
chose
little
it.
metaphor
It was,
for humans.
yeah,
and
exactly.
God,
Like I
and
said,
yeah.
this movie is it's very
Right.
high level.
Right.
It's like that's a metaphor for God.
Yeah.
And then like he's born into the world, but immediately the world takes him from him.
Mm-hmm.
And mother and father take him, Ninja and yo-landi.
Yeah.
And like they show up and they kidnap
And Ninja
that
is
scientist
very much like
and the
that
robot.
idea of a father figure in Western culture of the guy who's supposed to make you tough.
Yeah.
And get you ready for the world. And Yolandi is the mother figure. You know, she's the one going, he's just a child. He's just a baby. You know, don't
Let's
be
read
so
a book.
mean to him and don't be so hard on him.
Let's teach him to
and
do
Ninja
art.
is like, no, don't be a pussy. You know, you got to do this. And, you know, you got to do this or otherwise the world's going to eat you up. And,
Or they're going to die in a week. Because
Well,
Hippo's going to kill him in a
exactly,
week. So,
exactly.
like,
well, they're going
for
to die in a
Ninja,
week,
this
and
is
he's
not
gonna
like
die in a week,
raising a
you know?
child.
Which
he needs...
I never thought about that, but they both have the same kind of deadline.
Oh yeah,
you know,
all these
really.
people are dead. Yeah, like
they're
I said,
all
starts
working on a
pretty.
week-long deadline, basically.
Yeah, before someone,
Yeah.
or either their heart just ceases or they
Right.
die,
Or-
and there's
or
no
somebody
solution.
comes and kills them. Yeah,
Right, but Chappie is the solution. This new AA comes up, and one of the cool things about Chappie is he seems to age at like a really fast rate. Like as a robot,
Extremely
he grows up like
accelerated.
maybe 7, like
Yeah.
almost like dog years,
Yeah.
but in days.
God,
it's like
more than
7
that.
years
Yeah,
a day,
exactly.
so he's like
right.
a
7 years
7-year-old.
a day, right?
Right,
no
so like
doubt.
he's like a teenager by the end of the second
Yeah,
day, and he's a guy
yeah.
in his mid-20s by the end of the third day, which
Yeah.
is where I think the movie pretty much
Yeah,
ends.
the majority of the movie takes place in that like you said, the third, fourth day-ish time period. Like,
And like
not quite exactly at the end of that week long that he has for his battery, but very, very close.
one of the things that I think is most entertaining about this movie is Ninja's interaction as Chappie's dad.
Yeah.
When he's teaching
Yeah.
him terrible things, it's
Right,
funny.
right,
Like
right.
Chappie doesn't want to use a gun. Chappie's a
Right.
gentle soul. Like he's infused
because
with
and
yo-landi
then there's that scene where where Dion, the guy who the programmer who is the one who creates the
Right,
AI,
right.
he comes and finds them. And
He does talk to
does
Chappie for a
talk
minute.
to Chappie and he makes Chappie promise that he's not going to do anything bad or do any crimes or be harmful in any way.
Right.
And Chappie does promise it. And once he understands the
Can't
concept
break a
of promise,
yeah.
he
Can't
he
break a
sticks
promise.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he's good at that. He picks up
But
stuff. He's
Ninja
like real
is
fast.
finding all these workarounds
Yeah.
and ways to like get him to do it that fool Chappie into thinking he's doing something good when really he's throwing friggin' ninja stars.
Yeah,
because
because he won't use the gun. So
Yeah.
Ninja figures this workaround where he just tells him that knives make people go to sleep.
Right,
And they just
right.
sleep real good. And he's like, oh, I don't know anything about the world. Okay. And it turns out he's real good at throwing knives.
Yeah.
So they're like,
like,
what you
okay,
do.
this will work, right?
that'll work. And no, he takes him out to do a bunch of bad things. He kind of like gives him like a bad first day at school where Chappie gets messed up,
Yeah.
which continues with the motif through the movie that every time this robot goes out and does anything,
Humans are horrible to it.
Yeah, horrible to it, and it gets messed
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Like every time
Right.
Chappie takes ridiculous
Yeah.
attrition, you're like, oh man, this is almost hard to
He
watch.
loses an arm at one point.
Yeah, real brutally,
have to,
and
like,
like
then
once
reattach
again,
it
while
to
his
the other one,
psyche's
and-
still real young, because like you kind of got to think about Chappie as a person who grows, because
Yeah.
they set up that it's like
Yeah.
really is a consciousness,
Right,
and like
right. It's
they
like a
stick
kid.
with that
Yeah.
through this movie. One of the big cool one of the really cool things I think this is doing in terms of science fiction is, once again going back to the idea of transfer of consciousness and the difference between consciousness and programming.
Yeah.
Right? And like there's a consciousness and there's a program, and we can
Mm-hmm.
transfer the consciousness, but you can't like, I don't know. It's just different, right? And like when they transfer their consciousness,
they don't make it seem different.
Yeah, no,
like when he goes into that robot body, when Dion is shot in the gut, and then Chappie transfers him into that robot body, it's still Dion.
Okay, I guess here's what. All right, here's the difference. I'm more saying is there's a difference between a mind that was born in AI, right, inside a robot body,
like
Chappie. And Chappie, who grew up as like a robot, and even on day 3 was like, God, in like day 2 or 3, he was smart enough to create the stuff on like a bunch of PlayStation 3s.
Yeah.
He transfers consciousness on like a stack of PlayStation 3s. Yeah. Super smart. So then you take someone like Dion, his creator, and like he gets put into a robot body, and like I wonder like if he has the same potential still, or because his architecture is inherently different, he won't learn as well. Because now there's 2 different kinds of robot bodies running around that both have a sentient consciousness. But yeah, so I see there's these 2 brand new types of robots running around, and I'm not sure how they would interact with one another. Like, do they see each other as equals? If you're creating them out of human beings, then like, and the human being ceases, then you're like, oh, that's almost unique and special. Well, how many of them like Chappie could they produce as like a workforce or something? Like, because he learns so fast. If they were like that kind of consciousness doesn't have the same rights as the other consciousness, they could build a bunch of those robots that were able to accomplish all these amazing feats and brainwash them really easy. If Ninja can brainwash them, I'm sure that company totally can, which has some great employees who are high hitting
and some huge ramification. Oh yeah, no doubt, right? And well, Hugh Jackman and Sigourney Weaver both. Playing people in this company. Sigourney Weaver playing, I'm assuming, the chief executive officer of the company, and Hugh Jackman playing a competing programmer who's created this Ed 209 type robot that works. And that's another thing too. Okay, so this Ed 209 robot, right? It works with a human pilot connecting via a helmet that they wear, which reads their brain waves and controls this robot. All you do is think it, the thing moves. That is a way bigger accomplishment than creating a stupid robot cop. I mean, seriously. Essentially, all that Dion did in the beginning was create like one of those droids out of like, Phantom Menace, basically.
Right, with better armor.
Right, with better armor. But then like what this guy's done is literally create a machine that can read your brain.
Yeah, I know. And it leads
not go with that one over
that's what Chappie uses as the stepping stone to mastering the synchronicity.
Right.
Which is like amazing. Like, what a step forward. I think one of the silliest things about this movie is the fact that you can try and talk about it seriously. Like, as ridiculous as this movie is, full of weird characters with spray painted machine guns, like having unrealistic gunfights and pulling off silly heists. It has a bunch of stuff that they really tried to cram in there. This is a real genuine effort with a bunch of big ideas.
Some major philosophical questions.
Yeah, and some cool ideas. And like, it comes off as so silly the first time. It's hard to take it seriously at all. And like, it's one of those ones that I think actually gets better with time and the more viewings.
Certainly.
I think that's true of Diane Antwoord's style, which is once again going back to the original. I think this is a Diane Antwoord movie. I think it's one of those things, the more times you revisit it and you get used to the weirdness of it, the more it tastes good, the more fun it is. Right. Like, the more cheese you get out of it, the more fun you have throughout the whole story. And like, I think it's pretty cool, really. It's worth watching.
Yeah, for sure.
If nothing else, to see it.
Well, that has been Chappie, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Take care. Thanks for watching another episode of Badger Nerdworks Presents We Watched a Movie. I'm Brandon. This is Finn. Be sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Say some stuff. Let us know what you think about it. Do you agree? Go ahead and hit the bell icon, and we'll give you notifications when new stuff comes up. Our other stuff is over here. You should click on it and watch it. Thanks for coming and watch this movie with us. We appreciate it. See ya.